Hi, Lala, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian. Today I will be talking about my 2022 March TBR. I almost didn't make this video, mostly because I want to read everything right now. I have a good stack here that we'll see if I even get to, mostly because, a little spoiler alert for my February wrap up, I only read one of the books that was on my TBR for February, so I feel like very kind of disheartened about even creating a TBR. We'll see how I do in March. I am scrapping my little themed reading theme for the month. I have mentioned it a couple times where it was inspired by Kayla from Books and Lala, where I take, it's kind of like the Buzzwordathon mixed with her inspiration to read, or her idea to read or have a vlog featuring books that have rabbits on the cover. So it was taking that but making it per month, and I just wasn't able to do that. Wasn't feeling it for January. It wasn't that I wasn't feeling it for February, I ran out of time. So and it's really kind of discouraging me, so rather than put any more pressure on myself, I would just kind of like to make sure that my reading goals that I have set up for 2022 are kind of just in check. So, like for instance, I did something last year that I really enjoyed, and I all know that I'm like lacking this year, and that is to read Indigenous authored books. I didn't read any in January. I have read one in February, and I don't know what's holding me back. So I'm just gonna go for it. With that, I am gonna read Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the second book in, I forget what the series is called, but this is the second book to Black Sun. This arc was so kindly given to me by Kim from Native Lady Book Warrior, so thank you so much, Kim. I'm really excited for this. This comes out March 19th, no, April 19th. I was like, oh my goodness, I thought I was early. I am. Okay, so I would very much like to get to this. I'll tell you about Black Sun, not this one though. I don't want to know the synopsis going into this, but basically Black Sun, we are following several perspectives in a fantasy world based off of pre-Columbian Americas, which is awesome. There's hardly any fantasy outside the realm of like Western Europe based settings. There was like political intrigue, there was romance, there is LGBTQ, it's fun. It was a fun read. And I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Rebecca Roanhorse is a Black Indigenous author. I'm not as excited about this cover as I was for Black Sun, but you know, I'll take what I can get. I'm just excited the second one has finally come out. The next Indigenous authored book that I would like to read is Urban Tribes, edited by Lisa Charlie Boy and Mary Beth Leatherdale. This is Native Americans in the City. So basically, there's a couple books by Lisa Charlie Boy and Mary Beth Leatherdale in the same format, where it's basically a collection of short stories, poems, art by Indigenous voices that are collaborated into one book. Hashtag Not Your Princess was one that I really enjoyed. I have several others that I would like to get to, but this one I feel like also helps fit for the buzzword theme for the month as well, which is location. A city is a location, so it's a very generic location, but location nonetheless. And yeah, I figure since Fevered Star is a bit of a chunker, not too bad. It's under 400 pages, so it's not too bad. But this might help as well. There's that, and particularly because my pick for Buzzwordathon, which if you don't know is a readathon that was hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala, turned Goodreads and Storygraph Challenge, where there is a theme or word each month of the year, and you read books with that theme or month in the title. So for March it is location, and because this book is a chunker, I only have urban tribes and this particular book as my choice for the Buzzwordathon. We'll see if that changes. I know that the Discord group for Buzzwordathon, as well as the Goodreads group, has Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid as their book for the month. I'm not feeling that so much, so I'm doing this, and it feels appropriate because I believe the sequel is also coming out relatively soon, and that is House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City. Crescent City, I think, is the title. I'm not entirely sure. This is my first Sarah J. Maas book, but Crescent City is what I'm going with in terms of location, mostly because it's another city, but as well as Crescent City is actually an actual location. It's actually like an hour or so north of where I'm currently located. Interested in this book. This has been the only Sarah J. Maas book I have been interested. I believe it features murder. It features fae. Knowing Sarah J. Maas, there may be smut. So, not that I know Sarah J. Maas very well, but there has been a lot of videos featuring this book in terms of kind of recaps and what you should remember, because the sequel is coming out. I think it was either recently or here within the next month. So this one I'm curious about and is quite the chunker. Already I'm not at the end. Even here, this is at 700, so it's over 700 pages. I think it's closer to 800, so yeah, quite ambitious. But tomes were another thing. Wasn't something I had put on my goals for 2022. It's just something if I am able to get to, perfect, but I'm not too worried about it. The next thing I would like to be able to get to is would like to participate in is the Magical Readathon. So the Magical Readathon is hosted by G over at the Book Roast. She's hosted it for several years now, but within the last couple years there has been a shift because it was originally focused around the fandom. It is now its own thing, and G has put in so much work and so much creativity. This is such a fun readathon, I feel like. But basically, we are creating our own characters with character sheets. There are background options for your characters that have prompts for to be able to help create the background for your character. We have taken the novice path back in August to get from our starting point to Aurelium, which is where we are going to basically learn our magic, and yeah, it's just all kinds of fun. So just to catch you up, mostly because I had to remind myself I haven't created a name for my character yet, but my guild is Order of the Crescent. I believe that makes my calling Master of Elements. I have a wildling background, and I'm from the province of Etheria. My heritage is probably against the rules, but I'm going with it anyway because I wanted a mixed heritage of water, earthling, and elf. And so G has made a announcement that there is going to be like a mini readathon to kind of help us catch up on any of the anything from our character backgrounds that we need to catch up on before the main readathon coming up in April. So yeah, there is going to be a mini readathon where we are choosing our conduits, as well as getting a little more into what our guilds do. So because I am in the Order of the Crescent, I get an animal companion, and that prompt to get that animal companion is, it can be any animal companion within small to medium range in terms of size, and I can get that animal companion. So whatever animal companion I want within has to be in the title or on the cover of the book. And then for my conduit, which is essentially just a weapon that magic flows through to be able to hone in the magic, is also, I think, restricted to my guild. I chose a bow, and for that I have for that prompt I have to read a book with hunt in the title. So for my animal companion, because I'm water earthling, I wanted a marine animal, and there's none other that I could really want or think of than an octopus. So I'm going to be reading The Soul of an Octopus by Cy Montgomery. I've read Cy Montgomery before and really enjoyed their work, so I would love to get to this. I love this octopus illustration. Oh, and sorry if I didn't mention, the magical readathon, mini readathon, is happening from the 14th to the 20th. So yes, this I think would work perfect for it, for my animal companion, as well as to read a nonfiction for the month, which I always like to read at least one. And then for the bow, to read a book with Hunt in the title. I don't have it yet. It's on pre-order, so it is an anticipated release, and that is Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. This is a horror science fiction where I believe it's sapphic as well. I'm not entirely sure, but it's like post-apocalyptic. It's like we are following Beth and Fran, who spend their days traveling the ravaged New England coast, hunting feral men and harvesting their organs in gruesome effort to ensure they'll never face the same fate. Robbie lives with his gun and one hard-learned motto: other people aren't safe. After a brutal accident entwines the three of them, this found family of survivors must navigate murderous TERFs, TERF, a sociopathic billionaire bunker brat, and an awkward relationship dynamics, all while outrunning packs of feral men and their own demons. So I'm excited about this one. I should be getting it soon, hopefully, just because I felt like it was appropriate. I'm also going to read for that readathon, mostly because I feel like, okay, Manhunt is 304 pages, and The Soul of an Octopus is 245. But this one's one I've been wanting to read too, and I mean, the cover is awesome, and I feel like it's very appropriate for what I'm going for, and that is Tentacles and Teeth by Ariel Sealing. And this is another apocalypse book that, basically it's the apocalypse wasn't what anyone expected. No rising floodwaters, no zombies, no nuclear bombs. Instead, monsters. Their sudden invasion left the world in shatters, and now, decades later, all that's left of human civilization are a few nomadic bands struggling to survive off the land. So this isn't top priority, but it is a fun one that I hope to get to. So I'm also trying to read at least 2 book of the month. A month because I have a lot of them. I have been subscribed to them for years now. This is not sponsored. I'm just saying I'm a big fan of their service, and I need to get them down. So I'm trying to read 2 a month. So far I think I've been doing all right with that. But this month I would like to get to The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, just to figure out what the heck this is all about. I keep hearing great things. The fact that Jesse from Bowties and Books really enjoyed it, like, what? So I would really like to just know what this is about. I'm feeling some FOMO, so I want to read this. So this one sounds intense and really interesting, but that is Peach Blossom Spring by Melissa Fu. This is a debut novel that was my pick for February. I have not hauled this yet, so a little sneak peek for the February haul. But I believe this is historical fiction mixed with contemporary, as we're getting kind of a generational view about war, migration, and the power of telling our stories. Like, I love that bright cover. Okay, so I mentioned Manhunt, which is one of my most anticipated books for this year. Another anticipated book that I had gotten a pre-order for and has come in. It's another freaking chunker. Oh my goodness. We'll see just how well I do this month. But that is The Violence by Delilah Dawson. I have read Delilah Dawson before. I anticipated books video. I said that I have read Delilah Dawson before. They wrote a book for Star Wars Phasma that I didn't mind. I enjoyed the writing, but I wasn't sure about the story, so I'm interested to see what else Delilah Dawson is able to write about. But this one is also another, I believe this is horror. So 3 generations of abused women must navigate their chilling new reality as a mysterious epidemic of violence sweeps the nation in this compelling novel of self-discovery, legacy, and hope. So another bright bright cover. And as if those weren't enough, especially with those chunky books, I have some books that I have yet to haul yet that I would very much like to get to. I was debating on even telling you, like showing you really, but I really want to read them. And I feel like March is kind of the perfect time because March 20th is the spring equinox. So, and with these being very plant-based, I figured why not? So the first one, I've heard things and the cover is just absolutely gorgeous, but this is The Poison Heart by Kayla Barron. This one we were following at Reese's, who has a gift. With a single touch, she can grow plants from tiny seeds to rich blooms. So when Breezy's aunt dies and wills her dilapidated estate in rural New York, Bree and her parents hope that, surrounded by plants and flowers, she will learn how to control her gift. But their new home is sinister in ways they never expected. It comes with a mysterious set of instructions, a walled garden filled with deadliest botanicals in the world, and generations of secrets. There is more to Bree's sudden inheritance than she could have imagined, and she is determined to uncover it. And from what I understand, this is sapphic as well. I've seen inklings of the sequel of this coming out soon. I'm not sure how soon. I'm hoping I can get to this and then like finally look at it. I've been trying to avoid any spoilers. So next is a recent new release that I didn't know about before, but I'm excited for it. And it's another I believe it's another nonfiction, and that is Fresh Banana Leaves, Healing Indigenous Landscapes Through Indigenous Science by Jessica Hernandez, Dr. Jessica Hernandez. So, an Indigenous environmental scientist breaks down why Western conservationism isn't working and offers Indigenous models informed by case studies, historical overviews, and stories that center the voices of Latin American women and land protectors. Despite the fact that Indigenous communities are among the most affected by climate change, climate devastation, Indigenous science is nowhere to be found in mainstream environmental policy or discourse. And while holistic land, water, and forest management practices born from millennia of Indigenous knowledge systems have much to teach all of us, Indigenous science has long been ignored, otherized, and perceived as soft. The product of a systematic, centuries-long campaign of racism, colonialism, and extractive capitalism. So, I'm very interested in this, mostly because it's very much giving me, very, very much giving me braiding sweetgrass vibes. And I think ultimately that was something that I was looking for within these ones in particular. I'm really excited about. So, because I've been looking for something that's very similar to braiding sweetgrass. So, I'm hoping this sounds really fun and really just impactful and thoughtful. So, next we have Rooted by Leanda Lynn Haupt. Life at the Crossroads of Science, Nature, and Spring. Oops, sorry, you can't see that. But another one that's like, I love that cover. A beautiful written manifesto of our complex time, rooted inspires readers to deepen their connection with nature in unexpected ways, to act powerfully on Earth's behalf. In Rooted, cutting-edge science supports truth that poets, artists, mystics, and earth-based cultures across the world have proclaimed for over a millennia. Life on this planet is radically interconnected. Our bodies, thoughts, minds, and spirits are affected by the whole of nature. They affect this whole in return. In this time of crisis, how can we best live upon our imperiled beloved Earth? This next one I actually don't know much about, just because it was mentioned to me by Neil from Neil Yazzie, who I'll link down below, as well as anyone else that I have mentioned in this video. But that, I'm going to say this wrong, I know I am. But that is Iwigara, The Kinship of Plants and People, American Indian Ethnobotanical Traditions and Science by Enrique Salmon. tap into thousands of years of plant knowledge. The belief that all life forms are interconnected and share the same breath, known in the Raramuri tribe as Iwigara, as has resulted in a treasury of knowledge about the natural world passed down for millennia by native cultures. Ethnobotanist Enrique Salmon builds on this concept of connection and highlights 80 plants revered by North America's indigenous peoples. Salmon, I'm just saying it as salmon, I'm sorry, teaches us the ways plants are used as food and medicine, the details of their identification and harvest, and their important health benefits, plus their role in traditional stories and myths. Discover in these pages how the timeless wisdom of Iwigara can enhance your own kinship with the natural world. I apparently just really want and need like more. I just botany. Loving these books. Oops. Oh goodness. It feels very springish. I am very much in that. I'm very much in that mood. It's springish. I'm very much in that mood of being connected with plants as I start to clear out my garden of weeds, as well as prepping for new growth, really. I'm also, I think, just wanting to go connect with nature. It's been a while. I think, yeah, it has. It's been since, I believe, before last summer that I was able to go collect anything when I got poison oak. And I think it's something that I would like to do again. Not get poison oak. That I was fine with the once. But to go like collect something. So usually I collect in the fall as well. However, due to the fires, unfortunately that wasn't an option. So I would very much like to start collecting again and being, I think that too, I'm missing the connection with my culture because we're still in a pandemic. I was able to slightly connect some over the summer, but in winter it tends to be, I know that in Europe specifically, in winter we don't tend to do any cultural events. That's the time of rest. I'm needing that connection, and so I would also like to, like, I don't know, maybe this is my theme for the month, unbeknownst to me. We'll see how well I can do this month, mostly because this is quite the stack. Oh goodness. This is, oh no, my March TBR. I have high hopes for it. However, it's not set in stone. I hope you know that. I am very much a mood reader, but hopefully it seems like a very broad collection that I'm able to just kind of pick and choose throughout the month. So thus we have a couple more days, thankfully, in the month of March than we did in February. So yeah, if you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. Otherwise, what do you plan on reading in March? Do you is there something that you feel like you're missing in your reading that you would like to explore more, or even in your life? I feel like I want to get my hands and my feet into dirt more, hence this. Otherwise, I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading. Please check out my raise awareness links down in the description down below. I'm sure that the news is very frightening and we can only do so much. However, we can do what we can. So yeah, even just sharing knowledge. So be sure to check that out. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video very soon. Cheers.